Mikee P, Mike Brabozzi in the Money Media YouTube channel and on the audio side. And we're up to Thurby on Derby week, which is always a big day at Churchill Downs. So I'm bringing in two guys that have fantastic opinions here to look at this late pick 5 for Thurby on Thursday at Churchill. Nick Tammaro, my favorite handicapper on planet Earth. He's busy. If you're watching the Churchill the feed and you're watching social media for Twin Spires, you see it. You're getting a lot of Nick Tammaro. So Nick, thanks for taking some time for us.
No, thanks for having me. Looking forward to it. Ready for Derby week to continue on with this Thurby card. They've got a clever nickname for every day down here, so it's pretty fun. Thurby is not the only one.
Yeah, probably a big crowd that they've been getting, I know, for the Thurbys these past several years, especially. Jackson, you're not coming to the Derby with us. Jackson Muniz is here with us, but I know you're going to get plenty of airtime in these next few days.
Yeah, going to be busy and going to be live on Saturday with ABR, I think, for the main pick 5, all the grade 1 stuff. And I know Pete's going to be on for a couple of races, so check that out. He's coming on around 3:15, I believe. So he'll be on for the American Turf and the Churchill Downs Stakes. So make sure you guys check that out on Saturday.
Well, this show is brought to you by TwinSpires.com, and TwinSpires.com, of course, has plenty of contests to jump into the Kentucky Derby Betting Challenge. So you have a $800 Thurby KDBC qualifier, one of the last big qualifiers to jump into that KDBC. Kentucky Oaks, they have a $1,000 KDBC qualifier, and of course, that big Kentucky Derby Betting Challenge on Derby Day, $5,000 bank. $5,000 buy-in, $3,500 bankroll, $1,500 goes to the prize pool, guaranteed $250,000 on the line there for the KDBC. The brand new major on the tournament scene. Jump on to TwinSpires.com. That's the only place you can play in it. So get in on that KDBC this year for that huge pool. We're thankful for their sponsorship of these shows. And the Monster Pods, TwinSpires.com, certainly the place to jump in for Derby this year. Okay, let's look at the Thurby Pick 5 here on Thursday, 4:38 Eastern Time. It starts in race number 8, and it's a 5-claimer to start with here, Nick. 6.5 furlongs. I thought, honestly, I could not figure this race out, so I'm hoping that you can help.
Hopefully, we'll see. You shortchanged these poor guys and called them 5 claimers. It's 50, Mikey.
Oh, 50?
You know,
No wonder.
Too many zeros, right? Too many zeros to deal with there. But no, all kidding aside, this is a really tough way to get things started. I was drawn a little bit to a horse who I think will be a relatively decent price, the 2 Vitamint for Eddie Canale. Eddie Canale's barn's been on fire in Kentucky over the course of the last month, 28%. With a $2.45 ROI last 30 days in Kentucky specifically. He's 2 for 2 at the Young Churchill Downs meet with a win on each card. This horse is showing up as a new gelding, you know, the classic case of one that they purchased privately and just really didn't come to fruition. But now they've tried to regroup a little bit, putting him in for the tag. He's got good numbers, putting horses in for the tag for the first time as well. I think he'll get a good trip from just off the pace. And I had a lot of trust issues with the main players in here. I don't really know if you can completely trust the likes of Ludwig. Classic Legacy looks like he's going off form rapidly. And I didn't really know if I liked Hailstorm enough to take a big swing on him here. So I wanted a little bit of a better price. I'm really mainly going to use the 2 and 9 in this spot. I thought the 9 El Dandy was actually a little interesting. I liked the last race, and it came against much better. I understand it was straight 3-year-olds, but the likes of Gunmetal and also in that race was Tip Top Thomas would obviously be overwhelming favorites. And this horse has just been misplaced on a number of occasions. They've spotted him over his head, finally getting to a point where I think they're in a realistic spot. And I don't think he has to run much faster than he did last time to win this.
To get my mouse to work here. Agree on a couple of those. Jackson, I need some help with producing in this show. Who'd you like here?
I agree with pretty much everything Nick had to say. I'm very against the 4 in here. It just seems like a way. I know it's getting class relief, but it's going to be a little short for me. 3 Ludwig, kind of the same thing. I mean, he's not that much faster than really anyone else in this race. He's also the same price as Vitamint was when they faced each other back in February. So I know Vitamint didn't run really great that day, but he's got plenty of back numbers to run back to that would be good enough first time gelding. Supposed to get the right kind of trip just off the speed. and he's going to be a decent price in here. I just did not want to settle for anything too short in a race where I don't trust the shorter priced horses. And then the 9, I agree on the 9, El Dandy, who might finally get loose in the spot. He's been running some fast paces against some tough horses. It seems like he's kind of found the right spot. It just needs to outbreak that 6-horse Spanish Wells, because when he gets loose, he's awfully dangerous. He's already blown up the board a couple times. So just get in front, let him roll, and see what he can do in the stretch.
Yeah, for me, I was looking to survive in advance. And like Nick said, really hard to trust some of the main players in here. With Classic Legacy coming in from New York and off a couple really, really poor races. The 3 has a couple poor races in his last couple races. I could understand the 9, El Dandy, but he's 12-1 morning line. And he did face much better last time. But he's another one that's going to be on the front and probably looking for a place to lay down. So I'd be very spready here. Probably use as many as I could to try to get through this early race in this pick 5 and see what I can do later in this sequence. Let's go to race number 9. And this is a 6 furlong 3X, a rare 3X here. 100,000. I got this claiming tag right for this race. Optional claiming tag. For me, I would be single A world record. I like his races with Lasix. I like his speed. I think that he should be sharp coming back off the layoff. And if he gets the front, I do think that he could be very difficult to beat in this race. If I was going to back up, I might look at the 3, Petkoff, 10-1 morning line, Brittany Russell. I like the dirt race back on March the 8th. It has been facing Think Big on the grass, who is very sharp and very good. And I do think that maybe that this is a better spot for this horse, especially if he can appreciate the dirt. He has, done 2 races back. So 10-1 morning line for that one, but I'd be pretty heavy world record. Jackson, who do you like?
Yes. I'm with you, Mike. Yeah, I'd be low A at the 2 world record. All the 3 major contenders in the spot all seem like have a lot of speed, and I just think he's the best of them. And I hope Pratt just gets him out of there, lets him roll, and puts him away. He's got the best back numbers run back too, and hopefully the little break did him some good. I think he got away from what he was best at later last year, which was just getting the front end and running those horses into the ground. So I'm hoping he's going to do that in this spot. Underneath play would be the one. I'm going to hope that world record can run Track Fandom and Nash into the ground, win the pace battle, and Arrow Smash is one that I could see running from the back half of the field. Closed into the slowish pace last time against Hoist the Gold, ran second, and I don't see any reason if he repeats that performance, he can get a piece of this thing too. So Lone A in this spot on the 2 and a little bit 2-1 exacta straight. Nick,
you gonna make it a chorus here? Or you like something different?
Yeah, I don't have anything different to say. This horse is also going to be like 6-5, right? I mean, there's no way he's not the favorite. He's taken a tremendous amount of money in his last 2 starts, and I don't know. I've always thought Nash was a complete joke, and now I guess he's been refurbed as a sprinter. Brad has very good numbers synthetic to dirt. Brad has very good numbers, period, but he has good ROI numbers synthetic to dirt. I guess this horse ran well last time. I don't quite get it. I don't really see him running back as well on the dirt. His race 2 back at Fairgrounds was embarrassing. And 6 furlongs feels like it's short, but he was victorious at 6 furlongs last time. So, yeah, I agree. I think the 2 is going to wire the field. I thought Arrow Smash was interesting. I thought maybe I can make a little case for Caramel Chip getting Lasix again. This is a horse that's moved up north and run okay on occasion, but he's probably more of a placing chance. I mean, world record is supposed to wire this field.
Go to race 10, and we're going to the grass, and it's the opening verse here. Going for 350,000. Nick, I'm going to keep it with you. I thought really wide open, pretty tough race.
Yeah, it's a tremendously wide open race, and the question that you have here is Mercante has also re-entered in the Old Forester Turf Classic on Saturday, and he's kind of the only speed in there. Not that he can win, but it'll be interesting to see if they go here instead. The class relief on Brilliant Birdie is supposed to be enough, and I think he was probably. I think this is a little bit of an overreaction on Cherie's part, but she probably thinks he's not quite good enough for a Grade 1. This horse was relatively wide the whole way in the Muniz, the Mervyn Muniz, as I remind everybody when Jackson's on the show. And he was dad jokes, right? He was wide. You wanted to be inside. I don't think he ran that bad. I think there's also an argument that we probably got a little carried away with him last year when he won a lot of like middling type races against weak 3-year-olds. So he's probably not as good as everybody thought, but he's good enough to win this race. It's between him and Major Dude. The problem with Major Dude is Todd has campaigned this horse so conservatively, and he ran him in the Appleton last time out where he looked like an absolute cinch on paper. He blew the break and ran very well to pick up the pieces for fourth. But it's kind of like the clock is at like 11:55 on Major Dude. It's like, all right, put up or shut up already. Enough, enough is enough. But with that said, I mean, I felt like one of those two was kind of supposed to win. I just didn't have anything clever.
Yeah, and the Brilliant Birdie, 3 for 3 at Churchill, so we know that he likes that. I thought against it last time, so he probably should be tough in here. Jackson, I think you were on with us whenever we were against Major Dude in that Appleton race last time, and he certainly didn't get the greatest trip, blew the break like Nick said. Are you going back with him? Do you think he can bounce back? What's your thoughts here?
No, that was the race where we were against him, and we were like 5 deep, and we still didn't hit it. And he ran there. So that's,
well,
how it goes.
That was a Jack Sisterson special, but
yeah. No, I was against him in that spot. I'm going to be against him in here too. It just seems like he's going to be overbet off of that trip where everyone saw the break, everyone saw him check on the backside, everyone saw him fly late, and I don't know. I think he's kind of going the wrong direction. I agree it's a 2-horse race. My understanding is Mercante's running on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I probably would have taken him in, or at least used him in this spot. So it looks like a 2-horse race. I'm going Brilliant Birdie. Just seems like the only other alternative in this race. The long shots just don't really do much for me. They just seem too slow, and I'm against the 6. So kind of by default, I'm going with the 9. He's probably supposed to improve in this spot for Shree, as her horses typically do. They usually just get better as they get deeper into the year. And if he gets any kind of trip in this race, I think he'll be very, 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 very tough to beat.
Any thoughts on the 8 here? 21 morning line, Georgie W. I thought raced okay last time in a race. It was a 2X that came off. This horse has some back turf lines. I mean, faced taking Candy back at Saratoga. Any thought that this horse, maybe not to win it, but certainly could hit the board at all? Jackson?
I think he can hit the board. Yeah, I don't have an argument with that. His race 2 back behind taking Candy and Irish Aces, both of whom are stakes caliber turf horses, was good. So yeah, I like the job Will Walden does. He's a good up and coming trainer, obviously a young guy and one that has his best days ahead of him. He's got an Oak starter as well.
Let's move on to race number 11, and it's a 6 furlongs leather listed stakes race here. Jackson, like Speedboat Beach, or are you against?
I'm against him. I mean, he's been on the comeback trail for so long now and just hasn't worked out, and he finally shows up here. I don't know. I guess he can win, and he could be really short and run the doors off these horses. But it's also a little weird that Fort Bragg's also in this race. I don't know why he's in here. He's just gonna be too short for me. I'm gonna go to the outside, Valentine Candy, who got really good at the end of last year. I don't know how much he was beating in those races, but he did beat World Record. He did beat Maximus Meridius, who are pretty solid horses. And in that Mahoning Valley race, I believe it is. And I think he's going to get a really good trip in here. He's drawn outside, has a tactical speed to be close enough, get that outside stalking trip and stay in the clear. Don't know what happened last time. Maybe just didn't like the turf. Maybe it was just a prep race, but I think he's probably moved forward a lot, getting back to Churchill, where he's run very, very well in the past. So I'm going to use him. I think he's going to be a much better price than the 3, and he's probably a bit of a safer pick, I would think, than the 3 Speedo Beach.
Nick Baffert's bringing these so-called monsters back this week to Churchill, Speedboat Beach. Nysos is in on Saturday. What's your thoughts on this horse, and what's your thoughts on this race?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So Bob Baffert has run 18 horses off 365 plus day layoffs on the dirt in the last 5 years. 9 of them were favored, 9 of them weren't. He's 6 for 9 with the ones that were favored and 0 for 9s with the ones that weren't. I don't really know how much that matters. I think Speedboat Beach will be favored. I could not advocate for betting this horse off of this kind of layoff. I don't think that Malibu really held up well to scrutiny afterwards. Obviously, Hijazi was never seen again, and Giant Mischief is simply a grade 3 type horse. So I could see Speedboat Beach coming back and winning. This is a pretty tough spot off the bench. There's some hardened veterans in here. Obviously, his stablemate Fort Bragg is more than capable. Bango's the winningest horse at Churchill Downs of all time. Champlin may be even better than him, especially when he can use his speed. And like Jackson said, I think this race just sets up beautifully for Valentine Candy. He drew great on the outside. He should be able to stalk and pounce. And I think they used the turf last out as an experiment. And he had a little bit of turf pedigree, and if he took to it, then who knows what could happen the balance of the year. But all signs point to him being very tough. And I agree, the Steel Valley Sprint at Mahoning Valley was a much better race than it looks. One horse I'll say you could maybe use in the exactas, maybe to try, if David Jacobson opts to run him here rather than Oaklawn. Happy American was in the Count Fleet Sprint last time out. Very, very difficult day to make up ground at Oaklawn. The track was decidedly speed favoring. It helped Booth. I think Steve may have even realized that with Booth and opting to not run him in the Churchill Downs, which is a Shark Tank where he would have had no chance anyway. But Happy American's a horse I think could clunk up for a little bit of it. Blinkers go on, and Rosario, obviously a guy that you want from off the pace. This is a horse that always has been a little bit better at Churchill too. So with all that said, I'm sure Jacobson will run him at Oaklawn where he's entered on Friday.
I like the 10. I do think that one plays extremely well in this race. And the Shakertown had a chance of coming off too. So, I mean, that was another maybe reason that they were entered in that spot. I do think that horse plays very well versus these. I'm going to mention another one, though, the 4 Happy's a Choice. It's John Ortiz, and no secret that I'm a very big fan of the barn. He was wide there in the Whitmore back at Oaklawn on March the 15th. He's faced some okay horses. He has 2 wins over this racetrack. Now you get Mike Smith to ride, so be curious to see. I'm sure that this horse will be sort of off the pace here. Could get the right trip. Certainly has numbers that fit, especially his Churchill numbers. They're pretty sharp. 104 buyer here in September last year when winning at a big price. So I do think that he's 4-1 morning line. I think he's going to be higher than that because I do think the 10 will take more money than he will. And there's some other horses he'll take. And Speedboat Beach is probably 3-5 in the race. So I think that there are, if you beat him, especially in these Maltese, that you have a chance to really blow it up for this pick 5 on Thursday at Churchill. Go to the last race, and this is a main special weight, Mount and 8th. Nick, how are we going to get paid?
Yeah, I mean, talk about a tough way to end it. I guess the easy way out is to just take the 7 Stellify. We'll see how Hope Mission runs on Wednesday. Obviously, we're taping this before. But that was a horse that she finished behind last time out in her second career start. Obviously, you've got to give some consideration to the 10 Fleetingly, who made a big late move in her North American debut for Chad Brown. I hate taking the 2 chalks, but they looked like the right kind of horses. I'll also use the 11 My Gal for Jonathan Thomas going back to turf. This horse ran well in her second career start at Keeneland and then got rained off the turf last time out. But I'm sure what he wanted to do was just get a race into her to get her restarted now as a 3-year-old. So unfortunately, a little chalky for me. The other thing is that those horses will likely all be making moves from off the pace, although I guess to an extent, Stellify can stay somewhat close because, I don't really want to be taking 3 closers, and I don't completely trust the 1.
Jackson, your thoughts here? My problem with Stellify, even though I liked Hope Mission, she's sort of one pace in that race there, especially a horse that was 6-5, really just made no impression. Maybe Hope Mission was just that much better, but certainly this one didn't make, I thought, a great impression. What's your thoughts on the last?
Yeah, 7 probably my top pick in here. I don't see a lot of speed. I hope Flo will be really aggressive with her and put her into the race. I do like these lightly raced horses when they're improving. I like the pair of buyer tops. I think we'll see a step forward from her, and she just seems like hopefully the best with speed in here. I'll also use the 9 Strive Runner for Cherie again. Cherie horses they usually get better as they get more experience, and she's a 3-year-old who has got a pretty decent number for that race, especially with you looking at the time form. The buyer wasn't the greatest, but time form puts her not that far behind these favorites in here. And again, she's supposed to improve from off the pace. I think she'll run all day. The 10, I agree, it's probably used, and even the 13, if 13 draws in, I think is one I would use for Robert Medina. Just one that I think will really like the distance, and I think we'll appreciate getting back to the grass. But that one needs some help on the AE, obviously.
You guys didn't mention the 1. Pacific Front, and I know that this is a 4-year-old that's had plenty of chances, but faced the boys last time when a mile and 3/8, and I thought raced pretty well. The figures stack up versus a lot of these, could be closer. Cuts back to a mile and 1/8, but at least this horse has raced well at distances. So I know Toner's over the year, but eventually he's going to get one. This horse is certainly well bred. Maybe it's the time, especially with an inside post here. I do think could be closer than a lot of these. And you know, the the 10 has come from way out of it. So fleetingly, first time back for Brown. I think that one's a must use. The Cherie horse, the 9, another one that dropped way off of it first time out. So I know that the one's going to be in front of both of those two horses, and maybe just finds a field that she can beat. So I was 1, 9, 10 to finish in the last on Thursday for this late pick 5. Well, it's Thurby. Nick, I know you'll be in the house. I'm hoping to catch you at Churchill. But just this Derby week rolls on, and we're certainly going to have plenty of coverage on the network.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Very much excited about all that we've got going on. Make sure you're rate, like, subscribe, do all those things. Join in the Money Plus. We've got a ton of content, and we'll continue to throughout the Triple Crown season and on to Saratoga.
Absolutely, Jackson. We keep mentioning, you're doing a lot of work, but we got you up early, and I do appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, a little earlier than I'm used to, but it was glad I did it. It was a lot of fun, and really looking forward to the rest of this week. To me, a lot of fun.
Well, Derby week rolls on. We thank Twin Spires for their sponsorship and their continued support of the In the Money Network. Enjoy Thurby. Check out the coverage on the network, on the YouTube channel, on the audio side. We'll see you all next time.